What if someone was secretly stealing the one thing that makes you feel safe? Jamal Brooks, the school's star athlete, keeps finding his favorite hoodie missing again and again. But this time he's determined to catch the culprit. When Jamal finally discovers the truth, sparks fly, hearts race, and a secret connection is revealed that could change everything. Stay tuned, because this is a story of stolen hoodies, stolen hearts, and a romance you won't forget. Watch till the end. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Jamal Brooks had never been one to worry about small things. At 18, he was the star of Ridgewood High's basketball team, his dark skin shining under the gym lights as he dribbled past defenders with ease. He was tall, muscular, and effortlessly confident, the kind of guy people admired just by walking past him. Teachers noticed him, students envied him, and even some of the upperclassmen tried to catch his attention. But lately there was one mystery he couldn't ignore. His favorite black hoodie kept disappearing. It all started a few weeks ago. Jamal had just finished basketball practice, drenched in sweat and exhaustion, when he reached into his locker for his hoodie and nothing. He thought maybe he'd left it in the gym. But when he returned a day later, it was gone again. The hoodie wasn't just any piece of clothing, it was soft, worn in all the right places, and smelled faintly of laundry detergent and something uniquely him. Losing it felt personal, almost like someone had reached into his life and stolen a little comfort. The disappearances became almost ritualistic. His hoodie would vanish during lunch, sometimes from his locker, other times from the bench near the bleachers where he liked to sit after practice. He joked about it with his teammates at first, but behind his easy grin, frustration was brewing. "Maybe ghosts have a taste in fashion," Jamal had muttered once, laughing along with Marcus, his best friend and point guard. But Marcus just shook his head. "Man, someone's messing with you. I've seen you freak out over less." Jamal knew it wasn't just a prank. The hoodie never turned up in random places, it was always gone, like someone deliberately wanted it. He began paying closer attention to the hallways, the gym, and even the library. His life was already a whirlwind of practices, games, and social events. Adding detective work on top of that wasn't exactly ideal, but he couldn't let it go. The hoodie was his comfort, and someone was taking that from him. Meanwhile, in the quieter corners of Ridgewood High, someone else had discovered the hoodie's secret powers. Leo Martin, a first-year student, had always been shy, preferring to stay unnoticed among the sea of louder, more outgoing classmates. He had pale skin, messy brown hair that always fell into his eyes, and a small, fragile frame that made him seem almost invisible. He moved through the school like a shadow, careful not to draw attention, avoiding eye contact with anyone who might ask him a question. But when he stumbled upon Jamal's hoodie one day, left carelessly on a chair in the library, it felt like a lifeline. The hoodie was more than clothing. It was a shield, wrapping him in warmth and quiet confidence he rarely felt. When Leo slipped his arms into it, the world seemed to shrink, the noise of high school fading to a dull hum. The scent of Jamal's cologne, or whatever faint fragrance lingered on the fabric, made his heart thump in a way he didn't understand. It was comforting, yes, but also thrilling, like he was holding a secret no one else could know. He wore it to the library, to the empty bleachers after school, even on days he felt too nervous to face his peers. Back in the gym, Jamal's frustration reached a tipping point. He had tried leaving notes, setting up traps, and even joking with his friends about hoodie ghosts, but nothing worked. Each disappearance was like a challenge taunting him. One rainy afternoon he decided he would get to the bottom of it. He stayed behind after practice, letting the other players leave while he waited, hidden behind the bleachers. The rain drizzled lightly, making the asphalt slick and the air smell of wet grass. His hoodie was folded neatly on a bench, and he watched with narrowed eyes, determined to catch whoever dared touch it. And then he saw it, a small, hunched figure slipping the black hoodie over their shoulders. Heart-thumping, Jamal stepped forward, calling out without thinking, "Leo?" The figure froze, almost knocking the hoodie off. A soft, startled voice responded, I can explain." Jamal's eyes widened slightly. He had known Leo from class, had seen him walking quietly in the halls, but never thought this shy, almost invisible boy would be the one sneaking into his personal space. And yet, here he was, draped in Jamal's hoodie, cheeks burning a deep crimson that contrasted beautifully with Jamal's own dark skin. Instead of anger, Jamal felt a surge of curiosity. Something about seeing Leo in this vulnerable yet oddly bold position stirred an unfamiliar warmth in his chest. "You've been wearing my hoodie?" he asked, his tone half teasing, half incredulous. Leo nodded, fidgeting with the oversized sleeves. It makes me feel safe," he admitted softly. Just for a little while. Jamal couldn't help but chuckle, shaking his head in disbelief. Safe, huh? Never thought my hoodie could do that. He stepped closer, the rain slicking his hair to his forehead. But, I guess if it makes you feel better you can keep it. Just, maybe ask me next time? Leo's lips parted in surprise, eyes wide as if he had just been offered a lifeline. Really? Really? Jamal said, his grin softening. He extended a hand, brushing a wet strand of hair from Leo's face. But don't get used to stealing it, alright? The rain continued to fall, their silhouettes framed by the bleachers. And though neither of them realized it yet, this small, stolen moment would mark the beginning of something neither expected, but both secretly hoped for. Leo Martin had always been the kind of student who could disappear into a crowd. First year at Ridgewood High, pale-skinned with soft features and messy brown hair that fell perpetually into his eyes, he moved like a shadow. Small-framed and slightly hunched, he avoided eye contact whenever possible, kept his voice low and rarely spoke up in class. High school, with its crowded hallways, loud classrooms, and endless social hierarchies, was overwhelming. And yet, amid all the chaos, Leo had found a secret that made it bearable. It started one rainy afternoon when he had ducked into the library to escape the drizzle. His eyes fell on a familiar black hoodie draped over a chair. Instantly drawn to it, he noticed the faint scent lingering on the fabric. A mix of laundry detergent and something uniquely Jamal. Without thinking, he slipped the hoodie over his shoulders. The moment he did, the world shifted. The hoodie was soft, oversized, and enveloping, a cocoon that allowed him to breathe more easily. The usual tightness in his chest, the anxiety of navigating high school, eased as if someone had reached into him and gently pressed pause on the world. He could sit quietly in a corner, pull a book from the shelf, or just close his eyes, and for a few precious minutes he felt calm. Safe. Brave. The hoodie became more than just a comfort item, it was a talisman, a symbol of security. He started seeking it out whenever he felt exposed, whenever the walls of the school seemed too close, the noise too loud. He'd wrap himself in it on rainy days, during lunch breaks, and even while studying in empty classrooms. The thrill of wearing something that belonged to someone else, someone so confident and admired, was intoxicating. It made him feel seen without actually being seen, connected to Jamal's charisma and warmth, even if only through the fabric. Leo never meant for anyone to find out. Each time he wore it, he was careful, cautious, almost reverent. He would curl up on the library bench, hood over his head, reading a book as if the hoodie gave him an invisible shield against the world. Sometimes, he would practice speaking to people in his mind, rehearsing conversations that would never actually happen. But mostly he just let the hoodie do its magic, reminding him that small comforts could create big courage. Yet, the hoodie also stirred feelings Leo wasn't ready to name. Every time he inhaled the faint scent, felt the weight of the fabric against his shoulders, he became acutely aware of Jamal. The athlete's confident presence, the way he dominated every room he entered, the warmth in his smile, all of it became a private fantasy in Leo's mind. And though he told himself it was just about the hoodie, deep down, he knew it wasn't entirely true. Meanwhile, Jamal remained oblivious to the growing attachment his hoodie inspired. He continued to fume quietly over its disappearances, chalking it up to some mysterious thief. But on that rainy afternoon behind the bleachers, his sharp eyes had finally caught a glimpse of Leo, small, hunched, and draped in the oversized black hoodie. The sight stirred something unexpected: curiosity, amusement, and a strange tug of protectiveness. Leo had frozen when Jamal called his name, cheeks flushed and hands clutching the cuffs nervously. He could barely meet Jamal's eyes. I can explain," he murmured. The hoodie, once a shield, suddenly felt heavy and exposed. Jamal, standing in the rain with water dripping down his broad shoulders, couldn't help but grin. "You've been wearing my hoodie?" His voice carried no anger, only teasing disbelief. Leo nodded quickly, biting his lip, unsure what to say next. It makes me feel safe," he admitted, voice trembling. "Just for a little while." Jamal's grin softened as he stepped closer. The hoodie, oversized and enveloping Leo's small frame, only accentuated how fragile and delicate the boy appeared. There was something magnetic about seeing someone so shy, so timid, in a piece of clothing that represented confidence and warmth. "I never knew my hoodie could do that," Jamal said softly, brushing a wet strand of hair from Leo's forehead. "But, if it makes you feel better you can keep it. Just, maybe ask me next time?" Leo's eyes widened in disbelief, cheeks heating further. "Really? Really?" Jamal confirmed. "But don't get too used to stealing it." Leo laughed quietly, a soft, almost musical sound that made Jamal's chest tighten in an unfamiliar way. The hoodie had given him courage before, but Jamal's words, the attention, the acceptance, made him feel like he could breathe in a different sense. Not just safe but seen. From that moment, a silent connection formed between them. The hoodie had started as a shield, but it had unknowingly become a bridge. Jamal, towering and confident, and Leo, small and timid, were linked by something as simple as fabric. It was ridiculous and thrilling all at once, and neither of them could quite ignore it. As the rain continued to fall, they stood there, one soaking wet but confident, the other trembling but oddly brave, both unaware that this small, awkward encounter would mark the beginning of something neither of them expected. Something that would start with a hoodie but could very well grow into much more. The hoodie had changed everything. What started as a small, secret comfort for Leo had grown into an unspoken bridge between him and Jamal Brooks. In the days following the rainy encounter, Leo found himself seeking the hoodie more than ever, but now there was something different. The knowledge that Jamal knew, and had, in a way, accepted it, made wearing it both exhilarating and terrifying. Jamal, on the other hand, couldn't stop thinking about the shy boy in his hoodie. There was something disarming about Leo's quiet vulnerability, the way he moved through the hallways with careful, measured steps, almost as if he feared making any sound at all. And yet, when he wore the hoodie, there was a subtle transformation, confidence that peeked out from beneath his nervous exterior, tiny gestures that made Jamal's heart skip. It was strange to admit, but Jamal found himself looking forward to seeing Leo more than any basketball practice or school event. It was during lunch in the school courtyard that their connection quietly deepened. Leo had taken Jamal's hoodie once again, draping it over his small shoulders as he sat alone on a bench, a book resting on his knees. He hadn't expected anyone to join him, but Jamal appeared minutes later, carrying a tray of food, his dark skin gleaming under the sunlight breaking through the clouds. "You know," Jamal said, sliding onto the bench beside him, "I could make you pay a fine for hoodie theft." His tone was teasing, but the smile in his eyes was warm. Leo's lips curved nervously into a smile. I promise I'll return it," he murmured, fiddling with the hem of the sleeve. Yeah, Jamal chuckled, leaning back. "But it looks better on you than on me, I'll admit." His teasing was effortless, but there was an honesty in his words that made Leo's heart race. The oversized fabric swallowed him, yet somehow it fit perfectly around the small, trembling boy. Leo looked down at the hoodie, then back at Jamal, and for a moment the words he wanted to say got caught in his throat. He had never been good with people, especially not someone like Jamal, confident, magnetic, and effortlessly kind, but the hoodie had given him a tiny measure of courage. I like it," he whispered finally, voice barely audible. Jamal's eyebrows lifted slightly and he leaned closer, his tone softening. "You like it?" Leo nodded, cheeks heating further. "It makes me feel safe. And happy." For the first time, Jamal noticed the full depth of Leo's vulnerability and honesty. It wasn't just about a hoodie anymore. It was about trust, about sharing a piece of himself, however small, with someone he admired but had never dared approach. Jamal reached out, brushing a strand of brown hair from Leo's face, letting his fingers linger slightly. "I'm glad," he said softly. "I want you to feel that way even without the hoodie." Leo's heart skipped a beat, and the hoodie felt heavier on his small frame, not physically but emotionally. This closeness, the gentle touch, the teasing warmth in Jamal's tone, it was overwhelming and thrilling all at once. Over the next few weeks, their interactions grew more frequent, each moment punctuated by small, quiet intimacies. Sometimes it was a passing glance in the hallway, a shared joke in class, or a subtle nudge during lunch. Other times, it was Jamal intentionally leaving his hoodie in the library or bleachers, knowing Leo would find it, hoping to see the shy boy's reactions. Each time, Leo felt a little braver, a little more alive, and each time Jamal felt a little more connected to him. One evening after practice, Jamal found Leo sitting alone in the empty gym, the black hoodie draped around his shoulders like armor. The fluorescent lights reflected softly off the polished floor, casting their elongated shadows side by side. Jamal approached quietly, not wanting to startle him. "You know," Jamal said, leaning against the wall, "this hoodie thing, it's kind of growing on me." Leo looked up, eyes wide, unsure if he had heard correctly. "Growing on you?" Jamal nodded, smiling softly. "Yeah. Watching you, seeing you in it. I don't know, it feels nice." His gaze lingered on Leo, noticing the way the hoodie swallowed his small frame, the nervous gestures, the slight tremor in his hands. "I like it. I like you like this." Leo's cheeks flamed crimson. The hoodie had given him courage before, but now it felt like Jamal himself was giving him courage. Acceptance, attention, affection. I like you too, he whispered, barely daring to breathe. Jamal's grin softened into something more tender. Good, he said simply, taking a careful step closer. Because I don't think I want to take it back anymore, or you. The moment hung between them, heavy with unspoken promises and newfound understanding. The black hoodie had been the spark, the shared secret that drew them together. Now it was more than fabric. It was trust, affection, and the fragile beginnings of love. And as they sat there, two very different hearts slowly weaving together, Leo felt a warmth that went beyond the hoodie. It was something stronger, steadier, and entirely new. Something that promised that no matter how small or shy he felt, he had someone who saw him, accepted him, and maybe even loved him.